I went into Klemmer for one specific reason, thinking I had one issue or one crisis or one thing I wanted to develop and go further into. And to my great surprise, Klemmer opened up so many other doors. And I've seen that in all the other people, whether it's personally, relationship-wise, even just together, saving marriages, helping people just better understand finances, abundance versus scarcity.
I would just say to anybody, if you have skepticism in your life about, can this workshop really make a difference for you? I'm telling you it can. I've seen it over and over and over again. People going, having the experiential learning that goes on there. And because of that, the shifts happen in them as well.
I had a tremendous increase in my numbers. And of course, I'm just referring this course to everyone I know, including business as well as contribution or families or friends, because it's not just question of business, it's question of insight. So basically, if you want to have good results rapidly, if you want to have good results for your personal aspect, family, and this is what happened also on my side, is I was going for my business, but on the other side, I had some good benefit for my family. A relationship is really better, much better than ever, and we're in the process of getting a wedding together, so that's something we never thought before.
There is a huge difference for me to read about personal growth. I have done a lot of reading, but what I did with Klemmer was to experience change. What they call experiential learning, it truly is experiential learning.
Since I started the Klemmer & Associates work, I'm stepping into the ownership of my own life, and I'm writing my own story the way that I see it. And I'm just completely committed to stepping into my full potential.
The experiential nature of the training gets you looking at yourself in honesty and in truth, so that you can begin to make different choices about the kind of person that you want to be. So as a result of the Klemmer seminars, I become truer to the person that I was designed to be. I know why I'm here, I know my purpose, and I can't even put a value on what the seminars have done for me.
I have attended many, many seminars in business over the years. I've read lots and lots of books. I'm a learn by experience type individual, and that's what really appealed the most to me with Klemmer, is it's an experiential type of learning, which worked very well for me.
You've just heard some incredible testimonials from people as to the impact that a seminar with Klemmer & Associates has had with them. You've probably also heard from your friend who introduced you to us and got you to actually watch the webinar tonight. Or today, whatever time of the day you're watching this. And it's always amazing to me. I've been at this 30 years, but in 2009, my wife's maid of honor, Martha Howell, attended our weekend seminar and said, "Roma, why did you not push me harder to go to this thing? I had no idea how impactful this was." And her family's gone. I mean, down the street, our neighbor, Kathy Fairbanks, also went in 2009, along with her husband, her 21-year-old daughter, and the same thing. Brian, I had no idea what your seminars did. So if your friend is pushing you hard and so enthusiastic, it's just that so much has happened for them, and you'd probably be disappointed if they didn't push harder. I've been doing leadership seminars for 30 years now, a little over 30 years, around the world. This last year, our firm did seminars in 9 countries, and we've done work with large corporations like Hewlett-Packard, Walt Disney, Aetna Life Insurance, but we've also done many smaller firms, and we have public seminars, which is probably why you're doing this video. The purpose of this video, or this webinar, is to provide you the information you need so that you can attend the upcoming Personal Mastery Seminar. The purpose of this workshop is to provide you with enough information so you can make a decision to attend an upcoming weekend seminar with us called Personal Mastery. We have about 8 to 10 of those that are happening every month somewhere in North America, also in Australia and in Europe. The people that attend our seminar attend to make something happen. That's really why they do it. And tonight, the way that we're going to give you enough information about the weekend seminar is we're going to take a piece out of the weekend seminar on intention. It's all about how to solve problems when you have no idea what to do. So if you're stuck in any area of your life and you want to move forward, whether that's a better relationship, whether that's better finances in today's tough economy, whether that's better health, like losing weight and keeping it off, discovering your purpose in life, then you're in a great spot. That's why people do our workshops. We get paid to make a large amount of change happen in a short period of time. And we call the kind of person that is a make-it-happen result producer, but whose life is also about service or contribution, a compassionate samurai. It's the title of my best-selling book in 2008. It was #1 business book for a couple weeks, but it's much more than just about business. I believe that if you're going to have an extraordinary marriage, if you're going to raise great kids in today's environment, if you're going to have the kind of job that you're excited about going to that makes you the kind of money that you want to have to provide the lifestyle for your family you want, you need to be a compassionate samurai. That's a result producer, but their life's about contribution. Sometimes people get out of balance. I don't know whether you've ever met somebody that's kind and caring, but they're not too good at the production side, or they're a top producer in sports business or whatever, but then sometimes they get self-centered, they take some shortcuts, life's all about them. So we take the best of both worlds. It's not the violent side of the samurai. It's just somebody that's ethical, and they're all about results, but they're all about contribution to other people. Tonight, or today, what we're going to do is go through this module that we've taken out of the seminar, the weekend seminar, about how to solve problems. So to make this webinar meaningful, relevant for you, so that whether or not you do the weekend seminar, you get significant value right out of this workshop, the best thing is to have something in mind that you want to produce. And I'd put a couple criteria to it. Have it, #1, be something that is more than you know how to do. The reason I say that, if it's more than you know how to do, then it's going to be a high return on your investment if you actually make it happen. It'll make certainly listening to this for an hour and 15 minutes well worthwhile. So something that's more than you know how to do, but at the same time, don't go so far out there that it's what I call fairyland, fantasy land. It's, don't tell me, somebody in New Zealand recently, when I was doing a live event like this, said, oh, I want to end world hunger in 90 days. Well, come on, that's, maybe it's raise $50,000 in 90 days, if that was risky for you, or maybe it's lose 20 pounds and keep it off. Maybe it's make a marriage 50% better, but something that's risky for you, but it matters to you, but it's doable, it's humanly possible. And if you keep that in mind as we go throughout this webinar, you'll be well served. There's 2 major takeaways that you're going to walk away with. One is, how do you solve this problem that you just put in mind when you have no idea what to do? And then also, how do you make very large change happen in a relatively short period of time? That's really what this webinar is about. So to do those 2 things, sometimes people don't even allow themselves to want big things. I don't know whether you've ever experienced that, but I have. I mean, because if you want something like a better relationship with someone, or lose weight and keep it off, or make more money in this tough economy, and you can't produce it, that hurts. No 2 ways about it, it hurts. And what an average person does, hopefully not you, but an average person, to alleviate their pain, they simply stop wanting. I'm fine, I don't need anything, everything's okay. Well, that's the chicken's way out. That's coward's way out. What we are about is instead learning to be the kind of result producer who can make that happen, because our belief is you deserve it. Now, I have you see a great picture there of a dog sitting at the table. Isn't that cute? I'm a dog lover. I've had dogs most of my life. And I usually ask people, do dogs like bones? And most people would respond, if we had open lines here, yeah, dogs like bones. But I'm going to suggest they don't. What dogs like is steak, or the meat there, but they settle for bones. Now, when you're thinking about that, the whole key is that they settle. It's not that they dislike bones, that they settle for bones. See, I think what happens is the dog, and by the way, you don't have to believe me. Go borrow a dog if you don't have one. Put a steak out there, put a bone out there, what do you think the dogs are going to go for, you know? Or if the dogs are setting the table, kind of imagine that. They're going out there, dressed up with trousers or skirts. They're putting the silverware out there. If they were setting the table, who do you think would get the bones? I think it'd be us, don't you think? Yeah, because what happens is they get fed bones, 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 and the dog starts thinking to himself, I think I like bones. Bones, 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 I think I like bones. And they start settling for bones instead of going for steak. So I share that story because occasionally I run into people that say, why should I do any kind of self-improvement seminar? I'm fine. Well, you know what? You are fine. Even if you don't think so, you're fine. But the problem is it's the wrong question. The question you want to ask yourself is, what are you settling for? So in other words, you could be in a good marriage, 10 years, good marriage, not bad marriage, a good one, but if what you experience every year is good marriage, good marriage, good marriage, good marriage, maybe not you, but for some people it's relatively easy to start settling for a good marriage instead of creating a spectacular marriage. You make a certain amount of money. Maybe if you even had a salary cut with the economy that we're in, and then what happens is, everybody's had that happen, let's say, and you're looking around, you go, well, I'll just settle for what I got, instead of creating what it is that you want. So I'm going to encourage you to allow yourself to want steak, allow yourself to want a quality of life that's better than you have, and then just learn to be the kind of person, what we call a compassionate samurai, that can create it. Now, assuming you have something now that you're excited about, that matters to you, that you want to go after, why don't you have it? What's the problem? Well, some people think the problem's motivation, but I'm going to suggest that's not it. I mean, I've personally spoken on stage, same platform as Zig Ziglar, Mark Victor Hansen, Les Brown, all great speakers, got great material, but if you've ever done any kind of motivational thing, it's short-lived. I mean, you're pumped up, you're jacked up, you're excited for sure, but then something happens, like your kid breaks curfew, does something foolish, or you lose one of your key employees, and I don't care who you are, you're no longer motivated. So I'm not against motivation. It's important. It has its time and place. Certainly when I keynote at conventions, that's the kind of thing you get. But in terms of production, it's not enough by itself. If that's all you had, it's not enough. Second thing that companies or individuals try is what I call how-to seminars. They want to know, how do I sell? How do I prospect? How do I close? How do I coach my team? How do I manage people? How do I set priorities? How do I lose weight? How do I make money? And there's nothing wrong with that, but again, if that's all it took, there'd be a lot more successful people in the world. All it would take is a very successful salesperson and say, this is how I did it, you do it the same way, and then everybody would go home successful. Would take a successful husband or wife and say, this is how I did it, you do it the same way. So if you've been around longer than 2 weeks, you know something's missing, right? So I'm going to suggest that the only way to make significant, I'm talking large change happen in a relatively short period of time, is what we call experiential learning. And I'll explain what I mean by that in just a moment. You see a number on your screen there. It says 99%. Let me explain that for a minute, because this is tough for people to get. A lot of people, and if your mind's arguing with me, it's okay. I suggest that most of our decisions, 99%, we're not making. That 99% is applies to everything. It's tough for people to get. Like, you're watching this webinar. You could say, did I make the decision to watch the webinar? Well, I'm watching it. Isn't that evidence that I made my own decision there? And yet I'm suggesting you didn't make the decision. Something else made the decision for you. I'm suggesting that if you're married, you're not deciding when to be intimate, how to be intimate. Unfortunately, there may be some people watching this webinar that you know the truth of this based on how infrequent you're intimate. If you're in sales, you're not deciding how much you prospect, how you listen to people, whether you even listen to certain people, all these kind of decisions. Now, to get your head a little around this, because this is so hard for people to get, because don't get hung up to the 99%. What if it was 52%, 75%? It would still mean you're not in control. People don't like that, but just because we don't like something doesn't mean it's not true. So let's do this. Maybe this will help you get your head around this, is that are you making the amount of money that you would like to make? Now, if the answer to that is no, then you're not making the decision. Something else is making it for you. Otherwise, you'd add some more zeros on the end of your paycheck. So that would be the truth of the matter. In fact, one of the 10 traits of a compassionate samurai is honesty. So if you can start to get your head around you're not making all these decisions, then what really is making the decisions? You see the sunglasses there. I got a pair of sunglasses with me here that it's a great illustration of our belief systems making most of our decisions. So imagine if I was born with this pair of sunglasses on, and I've had them on every second of my whole life. That's very important. And if I've had these sunglasses on my whole life, if I'm looking at a piece of paper in front of me right now, let's say a normal white piece of paper that you might write on, I'd say it's brown. And let's say you're my boss, and let's say you know lots, and let's say you care about me. A lot of assumptions, I know. But you'd tell me, Brian, it's white. What am I going to tell you? You're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. Better go get your eyes checked. Any fool can see it's brown. You try and motivate me through it. Brian, it's white. Is that going to change what I'm seeing? No. You could call me every day for a year and tell me it's white. Is that going to change what I'm seeing? No. In fact, it's hopeless. It's hopeless. I can even want to see it as white. Doesn't matter. I'm still going to see it as brown. Now, if I discover there's something called sunglasses, I go looking for them, I bump into them, and I lift them off, which, by the way, how long did that take? A second? 2 seconds? In a second or two, I have a revelation. Something is revealed to me, in this case white, that I couldn't see a second before, even if I'd wanted to. So what people do when they do a weekend seminar with us is they explore all the sunglasses they have, the belief systems they have that are making most of the decisions about their behavior without them even thinking about it. What do you believe about honesty? What do you believe about risk? What do you believe about trust? What do you believe about abundance? We could go on and on and on. I mean, there are people that have belief systems around responsibility where they tie responsibility into being at fault, so they can't see how they're responsible for anything because they don't want to be at fault for it. I mean, that's a huge, many-hour experience that we usually include in our seminars. Tonight, or this afternoon, or this morning, whenever you're watching this webinar, we're going to look at a set of sunglasses on how do you solve problems. Because the truth is, you and I have 1,000 set of sunglasses on. Truly, 1,000. I'm not exaggerating here. I know it's a large number. People go, oh, Brian, you're just trying to make a point. No, we have 1,000 sunglasses on that are preventing us from seeing the solutions that we want that are all around us. Very interesting thing, too. You can have a certain set of sunglasses that works for you at one point in life, doesn't work at another point in life. I mean, some of the belief systems I had as an entrepreneur starting up a company did not work at all for me after our company was over the 10 million mark. It flat out, when you start up a company, you almost have to have a blind determination. Can't listen to anybody, because otherwise you get sewered. The stuff you're trying to do is like almost unrealistic, and everybody's telling you can't be done. So you have to, it's like single-mindedness, I'm going to make it work no matter what. But if you have that same set of sunglasses, when you have a larger company, nobody wants to participate with you. They want to be heard. They want to be involved in it. And so you'll actually turn that off and end up start carrying everybody on your back. So it's a very interesting thing, I find anyway, that sunglasses that work from the Army didn't necessarily work for me later on, or that this is a lifelong pursuit. And what your friend is suggesting is that you spend at least a weekend with us in a structured, safe, fun environment exploring what sunglasses do you have that are working for you, not working for you, especially those preventing you from solving problems. So let's just do with one on solving problems here. It's called our Formula of Champions. And we have on there $1 million formula. And, you know, sometimes that's like a cliche, but I'll tell you straight up, me to you, whoever's watching this, I wouldn't take any amount of money to forget this formula. I have my wife today. We've been married 25 plus years as a result of this formula. And I was 34 before I got married. I had a long track record of not being good at relationships. Didn't know what to do to make a wildly romantic, long-lasting relationship occur. Applied this formula, found my wife within 30 days, about a year later married, and as I say, we've been married 25 plus years since. I've used this formula to a multi-million-dollar company. I've used this formula for producing best-selling books when I'd never written a book before. It's really an incredible thing. And this is an abbreviated version you're going to get in this webinar. It's the tip of the iceberg. I would encourage you. You could spend an hour a week for the next 10 weeks studying this thing, and it would be well worth your time. And if you go to the weekend seminar, you'll do an interactive exercise around it. The formula, by the way, is intention plus mechanism equals results. If you got a pad of paper around you, I encourage you to write it down. It's also included in my first book years ago. It's a classic now. It's called If How-Tos Were Enough, We Would All Be Skinny, Rich, and Happy. Isn't that a great title? The problem, though, is if that's all I gave you is that formula right there, you probably couldn't use it to create some spectacular results, even though it will do that. And the reason is this. You have 3 parts to you. It's got 3 levels. You could call these levels whatever you want. And I'm not saying you have to believe this model of you and I as a person. I'm just using it as a place for you and I to discuss and communicate around. But I'm going to suggest you and I have these 3 levels. The top level, call it the head or the conscious mind if you want to sound sophisticated. I don't really care what you call it. The second level is bigger. Just like in a snowman, it's bigger. And that's by design. And that's called the subconscious or the heart, it's often called. And then the third level, I call it God. It's whatever you want to call infinite, right? So you have these 3 levels. There's an old line, which you may have heard, that says, as a man or woman thinketh in their heart, so are they. That means as you think in your subconscious mind, you are. Not how you think up top. You can think with a conscious mind, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, all you want. If in your heart you have poverty of the brainstem, you have scarcity thinking that you don't think there's enough. There's not enough good men out there. There's not enough money out there. There's not enough good jobs, whatever. If you've got scarcity thinking, if you happen to be in sales, you will not prospect wealthy people. Or if you do, by willpower, which is a conscious mind approach, the subconscious is going to override it. It's more powerful. And so what it does is put a beggy tone to your voice and ruin the prospecting that you're doing, even though you have a great technique or great how-to. So this is why it's essential, if you're going to change, you have to change the heart. Now, traditionally what happens is, here, I give you this $1 million formula, or you read it in a book or a CD. Where does it go? It goes to your conscious mind. Doesn't do you much good. How do you get information from the conscious mind to the subconscious? Only way I really know is you have an experience. See, you can't talk somebody through those sunglasses. You can't. But they have an experience, then they have the revelation. That is why our workshops are very interactive. They're live. You're doing something. You're up out of your chair. You're interacting with people. You're having an experience. But in this webinar, can't do that, but I can give you a visual and you get an idea, and then hopefully you will go out and apply this formula. Then you'll have an experience of it. You'll have your own revelation. Then you're going to be like a kid in a candy store, because you're going to apply it maybe to buying a house when you don't have the finances, or you're going to apply it to getting married like I did when I was single, or you apply it to taking 2 months off when you think that's totally unrealistic for you. And when you start solving problems like that, I'm telling you, life is exciting. And that's really, tonight's really the start for you on that journey. So let's work on this formula. Intention plus mechanism equals a result. Yeah. The piece I want to go to off of this is what are your definitions for each of those words? Because when you define something, that's your set of sunglasses. It doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean, it's not like my definition's any better than yours, but that's your set of sunglasses. So I'm going to, if I was doing this live with you, I would say, give me your definition for intention. And you know what? I usually get people to say, hey, it's purpose, it's determination, it's what I plan to do. Fine, those are all good definitions. That's your set of sunglasses. I'm going to give you a particular definition, deepest commitment, and I'll show you how this all plays out. Mechanism is the how-to. It's the process. It's the action. The result is what you get. That's what you end up with. Now, I'd like you to visualize something here. Is imagine that on one side of the room, let's say we have 100 of us on one side of the room, if you can picture that in your mind. And let's say I get a volunteer, John, and I say, hey, John, help me out here. What's a 90-day goal that you have? I mean, at the beginning of this, you may have heard testimonials and people saying, I know Deneen is one of the ones that's on our slides. I know Deneen personally. She went from low income to an area manager in a direct sale company to an RVP. She basically 4 times her income all within a year period of time. But she made the area manager just out of 90 days applying this formula, right, that we're talking about. Now, and that's pretty dramatic results. So maybe you have a goal of losing 20 pounds in 90 days. Maybe you have a goal of whatever it is. So let's say John's is to lose 20 pounds. Let's just use that as an example. I say to John, John, I want you to walk over, touch the wall on the other side of the room, walk back, and when you come back, most important thing out of this whole thing, cross this line in front of me, imaginary line, that's symbolic that you won the game. And in this case, winning the game is losing the 20 pounds. And you're going to be a visual teacher of the moment. John goes, great. So John, visualize this, walks across the room, touches the wall, turns around to come back. Then at that point, I say, hey, wait a second, let me talk to the group. And then I'd talk to people like you, and I'd say, hey, the walking of John, which of those words is it? Invariable people in the crowd would say the walking is the mechanism. It's the way, the vehicle, the process that John is using to get over and back. I go, very good. We're all on the same page. What's John's intention? Think about that. What's your answer? People in the crowd will sometimes say to cross the line. I go, interesting. How do you know that? And they'll go, well, because you told them to. I go, interesting. Does that mean if you tell your kids to study, it's their intention to study? He starts scratching a head, going, no, not my kids, Does that mean if your boss says, you got to work twice as hard this year, does that mean it's your intention to work twice as hard? No, you can't say that. So listen to what you're telling me then. You're saying you cannot tell a person's true intention by what anybody else tells them. That's important to realize. Not only that, hang on to your brain. It's about to have a meltdown. I'm going to suggest now you can't even tell a person's true intention by what they say. How many times you had somebody tell you something like, I'll come to a meeting with you, and they don't come? You get people all the time tell you stuff and they don't do it. So I'm going to suggest the only way you can tell a person's true intention is by result. The real formula, if you have this on a pad at home, just cross out the word mechanism. The real formula reads intention equals result 100% of the time, without exception, 1,000 out of 1,000 times. Now, you may not understand that. You may, back up a second with this slide. You may not understand that. You may not believe that. I've thrown a lot at you. But take it for the moment as a premise, right? Like a mathematical premise that you build on, right? Let's just take that for a moment. If intention equaled result, remember, John's standing the other side of the room. Is it John's intention to cross the line or lose 20 pounds? When I do this live, I'll still get people to say, well, yeah, it is. It just hasn't gotten there yet. And I go, no, it's not his intention to cross the line. If intention equals result, and the result is he's standing there, not here, then his intention can't be to cross the line. Now again, this may not be making sense to you, and I really want to work hard at this making sense to you, because this is a deal breaker. You get this particular piece, a whole bunch of doors are going to open up for you. This will assist you in many, many things in life, whether it's raising kids, running meetings that are productive instead of a waste of time, coaching people in an organization. This is a phenomenal piece here. Intention equals result. Imagine this was a coin. It's my hand, but let's say it's a coin. You have the front of the coin, the back of the coin. If you wanted the front of the coin, and I said, okay, I take out some special knife and I slice off a piece here like this, I'd still have a front and a back. You go, I don't want the back, I just want the front. Okay, trying to understand this. I get a knife out again, cut off another piece of the front here. I still have a front and a back. Can I ever, no matter how many times I slice, have a front without a back? No, they're inseparable. They are inseparable. You can never have a front without a back. Now, that doesn't mean the front is the same as the back. They're different, but they always match up and do a dance together. So what we're suggesting to you is intention is the front, result is the back. So if the result is John standing over there, that's the result. The intention can't be to cross the line, because that doesn't match up. The intention might be something like, doesn't mean it is this, could be several different things, but it might be something like this, an intention to be cooperative. I asked him to wait. He's waiting because he has an intention to be cooperative. That matches up with standing there over there. I mean, this is incredible. If you're in direct sales, you invite somebody to a meeting, they tell you they're going to come, and then they don't come. What do you now know? It wasn't their intention to come. I mean, if the result was they didn't come, it wasn't their intention to come. But catch this. It wasn't even your intention to get them to come. You go, no, Brian, I really wanted them to come. Well, you've already heard me if you watch some of our videos. What you want is irrelevant. Come on. There's lots of people in life that want intimate relationships and don't have it. There's lots of people in life that want to make more money and don't. What you want's got very little to do with what you create in life. But your intention, your deepest commitment, has everything to do with it. So intention is not what you want. It's not a goal. It's your deepest commitment. So many times we have a deeper commitment or intention to one thing than what we want. So people will, if you got told, yes, I'll come, but you had an intention to not get a no, guess what? You didn't get a no, but it really was a no. It just sounded like a yes, so they didn't come. Aetna Life Insurance paid us large amount of money to have less meetings and more effective meetings. And once your people have all experienced this, and you can use this to coach from, when you go an hour in a meeting and nothing gets done, all you got to do is say, hey, let's have a conversation. Because if the result is nothing got done, what do you now know about the intention? It wasn't anybody's intention to get anything done. Doesn't mean they didn't want to get stuff done. They did. But they had a deeper commitment to something else. And if you've worked on honesty, they've done the Klemmer workshops, so they're honest, they're trusting, they're bold. You'll have people say, hey, my intention was to be in control of this meeting. Whoa, that's way different, get something done. Somebody else say, my intention was not upset anybody's feelings, so I didn't bring this issue up. They really need to be brought up, so nothing got done. Hopefully you're beginning to see what we're talking about here. I mean, if you have kids, before you ever talk to your kids or open your mouth, you ask yourself, what's really the intention of the upcoming conversation? Because for some of you, based on results, it's not to be more intimate with your kid, it's to be in control of your child, to be right with your child, to be comfortable with your child. It's anything but be more intimate. So clarity of intention alone is huge. But we're just warming up. As I'm telling you, we could do many, many hours on this, and hopefully we're giving you enough tonight that's valuable you can put to work. But most importantly, we hope that you'll see such value, you'll say, hey, you know what, a weekend of this kind of thing would be absolutely outstanding. I'm in. Be worth my time, energy, effort, and money. So imagine this. We had John walk all the way across the room. We'll then have the other 99 people all go across the room, but with different mechanisms. It's fun. If you go to a live workshop, it's hysterical. People are cheering, clapping, and you don't have to do it if you don't want to do it. It's not kind of the seminar we run. But one crawls, one dances, one runs backwards, one does a moonwalk. They're all doing different mechanisms, and every time, eventually, somebody gets stuck. By the way, if they don't get stuck, we start doing things like, okay, everybody can only go with one arm and one leg, and it's all got to be different. They still start, everybody's got to go across with no legs, and it's got to be different. Well, gosh, one will roll, one will shove himself on his back, but eventually somebody's going to get stuck. And we're not trying to make people uncomfortable, but that is the same experience everybody has. Is I'm stuck on trying to lose weight and keep it off. I'm stuck on trying to buy a piece of investment property when I don't make enough money. I'm stuck on trying to make my marriage better. I've tried everything I can think of. So when they're having that same experience, we'll do something like pull a $100 bill out of our pocket and say, you know what, whoever's there, Sally, we're going to give you 30 seconds to come up with a mechanism that nobody's done yet. If you do, if you can come up with that mechanism, 30 seconds, you get the $100. If not, it's no problem. You know, we'll just put the $100 bill back in our pocket. You know, invariably, the person comes up with an idea, seemingly out of the blue, just like that. They'll pick their ear and get across. They'll do something unique and different. And it seems like the idea came out of the blue. It didn't. It was a scientific formula. When the intention's clear, a mechanism appears. Let me say that again. It's something you might want to write down. When the intention's clear, a mechanism appears. So, there's so many lessons off of this, but since this is a short webinar, let me give you 3 things to write down. First thing, how many ways are there across the room? Infinite. There's unbelievable number of ways across the room. Write that down. There's an infinite number of mechanisms for any one intention. There's an infinite number of mechanisms for any one intention. But most people have scarcity sunglasses. You remember these sunglasses? They have scarcity sunglasses. They think there's 1 or 2 ways of doing anything. So when those 1 or 2 don't work, they give up. I mean, some of you will have that tonight. You'll be looking at the tuition of the seminar, and you'll go, oh, one way, I can't do that. What's another way of paying for it? Can't do that. Oh, and then you give up. You want to remember, I don't care whether it's being more intimate with a child, losing weight, whatever it is, there's an infinite number of mechanisms. Even if you can't see them, at least keep telling yourself and keep looking for there's an infinite number of mechanisms. So by the way, if there are an infinite number, don't worry about it. It's not the problem. But most people, that's where all their focus is. Mechanism. They're mechanism oriented. We're encouraging you to be intention oriented. Now, second thing I want you to write down here that's important is when the intention's clear, a mechanism appears. So most people, when they don't know what to do, by the way, when you go, I don't know what to do, it's not a problem. Why isn't it a problem? Because when you say, I don't know what to do, all you're saying, do you remember our snowman? The conscious mind doesn't know what to do. The subconscious does know what to do, and God, or whatever you want to call infinite, for sure knows what to do if it's infinite. So the game you want to play is not solve it with your conscious mind. You want to solve it using the subconscious and God, or whatever you want to call infinite. So don't get hung up in my language. But most people, they are conscious mind driven. So when that doesn't know what to do, they're out of luck. They're done. They're toast. But we're giving you a formula here to bypass the conscious mind and put the second and third level to work. So the way that you do that is you focus on intention, and it creates a mechanism. That's all that happened when we pulled the $100 bill out. The person got very intentional, and all of a sudden, their subconscious went, I really want that $100, and boop, they created a mechanism seemingly out of the blue. Now, but most people, they want to brainstorm, conscious mind thing. That's a conscious mind activity. It's not bad. It's just a different way of going than what we're talking about here. Third thing I want you to write down, this is also very, very important. You can have conflicting intentions. Not really, because the definition, intention is your deepest commitment. But what I mean by conflicting intention is, I want to lose weight, and I love chocolate. That's a conflicting intention. I want to get some investment money to buy to start a business, but I don't want to appear pushy. That's a conflicting intention. Everyone, when we don't have our goals, we have conflicting intentions. Now, here's the rule. The bigger intention always wins, always, because we defined it as your deepest intention. So what you want to do is you want to make the intention for what you want higher than any possible conflicting intention. And if you happen to be a believer like me, then you've checked in with somebody else first on what you want. But once you've got that, you want to raise your intention. I'm going to show you specifically how to do that. Write this down. I'm going to give you 2 ways. There's others, but again, it's hard absorbing a webinar where I'm just talking to you. Hopefully, at least, though, you get a feel for what a live seminar is and what we mean when we say interactive. Sometimes people think, oh, we're going to go rafting down the Colorado. Nothing wrong with that, but we're in a hotel room. Interactive, experiential. So, the 2 things to raise your intention. Number 1, got this up on a slide for you. Number 1, not in order of priority, but is to make promises. Right? Make promises. And then the second one is put yourself at risk and make a promise. Those 2 things. So let me go back to our fictitious character, John, who wanted to lose 20 pounds. And I can't tell you the number of people. I just got a photo was given to me. It's a pastor's daughter. She's in her late 30s. And Mike Everson is the gentleman's name. And Mike sent me the photo of his daughter. She'd struggled with weight her whole life. After doing our seminar, she lost 120 pounds, half her body weight. And part of it, just part, was the rest of our weekend seminar. She didn't lose it all in a weekend, by the way, right? Your results don't happen like that weekend. But the changes occurred in her, revelations occurred such that then her behavior changed. And so this formula was a part of it. Lost 120 pounds after she had struggled with weight her whole life. I mean, to me, that's a lot of change in a very short period of time, but this is how you do it. Our fictitious character, John, who wanted to lose 20 pounds, he would then make a promise. He would turn to, say, his wife, or a child would be a great one, or a boss could be whatever, but do it with a 9-year-old, something like that. Say, hey, Johnny, I'm promising you, giving you my word, I'm going to lose 20 pounds in 90 days. That's how a promise works. And then you got to put yourself at risk. This is, you got to risk something you don't want to lose. This is like your stomach goes in a knot time. So risk is different to everybody. What's risky for you that are in this webinar might be easy for me, and what's very hard for me might be risky. Like for me, I did this formula recently, and what I put at risk was me singing karaoke on a cruise. I hate doing singing, and especially in public like that. Maybe in a shower, but I committed if I didn't do what I said I would do, then I had to sing karaoke on a cruise. Versus like my daughter, she was, she'd love to do karaoke on a cruise just for fun. That's not risky at all for her. So you got to be honest with this, because if you don't pick something that's truly risky, or you're not willing to make a promise, you invalidate the whole formula. Invalidate it. You will not tap your subconscious in God. You won't. The risk and making a promise are chemical ingredients, so to speak, that activate the subconscious and whatever you want to call that 3rd level. So John would promise his 9-year-old he's going to lose 20 pounds in 90 days, and then maybe what he puts at risk is a $500 check to the political party he hates. How's that, You'd never risk something that's going to hurt somebody's life or is permanent, like get a tattoo, don't be foolish with what I'm talking about. But it's got to put your stomach in a knot. If $500 is a lot of money to the person, or they're really politically involved, then this would be risky. I've had people say, oh, I'll go clean somebody's house for 8 hours on a Saturday. Heck, I don't even clean my own house, but I'll go clean theirs, and time's very valuable. I don't have much time with my family, so to give a whole Saturday up is risky. So it all depends on the level of the goal that you're willing to level the risk at, but it's got to put your stomach in a knot. Once you've done these 2 things, watch what happens. Now, you've got your conscious, subconscious, and that third level all lined up, and you're like a magnet. That's all magnetism is a physical property displayed when molecules are in alignment. If you have two steel balls, one of the molecules are lined up, one they aren't, one's a magnet, one's not. You have a company lined up. They attract people, opportunities, finances to them. Companies going, operations this way, sales that way, management this way. They don't attract those same things. So when you're lined up like that, mark my words, all of a sudden John will attract certain things in his life such that he's able to lose that 20 pounds. And it's seemingly out of the blue. Wow, that never happens. It's never that easy. All of a sudden, John will have behavior he's not even consciously thinking of. Meaning, he'll be at a restaurant and leave food on the plate. Versus maybe he had a set of sunglasses like I did growing up. We weren't very wealthy growing up, so man, it was eat everything. Think of all the starving people in China. Clean your plate. You're not getting dessert, you clean your plate. Well, I can tell you, with that set of sunglasses, over the years, I'd put on some weight because I'd be full and I'd still be stuffing myself. So, but all of a sudden, John, because he's made the promise, because he put himself at risk, he's leaving food on the plate, and he's not even aware he's doing it. He's making different choices about what he's eating. He's going, I never ordered that kind of stuff. How did that happen? His subconscious is making all the appropriate choices to make the result happen. Not only that, when he has a conflicting intention, what does that look like? Someday he's just feeling stressed out and he wants to eat. How's that for conflicting intention? But now, because he's promised his 9-year-old, he doesn't want to look his 9-year-old in the eye at the end of 90 days, right? And say, I only lost 10 pounds instead of 20. He doesn't want to face that embarrassment. In fact, if you want to put this to work and really have some fun with it, ask your 9-year-old what reward they want when you meet your goal. Half of them will drop, I get a reward when you meet your goal. Of course you do. Family is team. It's like a sports team. One person's job on a team is to get the ball in the net. Somebody else's job to keep it out of the net. They're on the same team, different job. My job is to make money or to lose weight, whatever it is that your goal is. Your job, whatever the child's name is, is to support me. So you deserve a reward. Now, if they're like my kids, you're going to have to negotiate the reward. They want a horse for you losing 20 pounds. Nah, that ain't going to happen. You make that. But I'm telling you what, you make an agreement with your 9-year-old. You get to go to the water slide park all day. When I lose the 20 pounds at the end of 90 days, there is no way. I don't care what stress you go through. No matter what happens, there's no way that you're going to look your kid in the eye and say, you know what, I only lost 18 pounds. You don't get to go to the water slide park. Now, you do these two things and incredible results are going to happen for you in life. But I've been at this over 30 years. You know what's amazing to me? I wish I was wrong about this one. I hope I am. But half of you, I'm giving you $1 million formula. This has put well over $1 million in my own pocket. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just telling you, you can do it. I didn't invent this formula. I had a mentor that taught it to me. I teach it to other people. All I did was apply it. But half of you will not do what I'm telling you to do. Why not? Because you're addicted to comfort. That's right, you're addicted to comfort. Comfort is a drug. Don't be judgmental of people on alcohol or cocaine. You have a different drug of choice. I mean, that's why if how-tos were enough, we'd all be skinny, rich, and happy. But if you're one of the ones that'll go out and apply this intention plus mechanism equals results, you're going to enjoy some spectacular results. Now, what we've covered with you tonight is incredibly valuable. We hope that you apply it. But truly, your friend that asked you to look at this webinar is hoping that you do much more. They're hoping that you do a weekend seminar with us called Personal Mastery. And we do it about 8-10 times throughout North America. We also have it offered in Australia and Europe. You can check the calendar that's right on our website, tell you all the dates, times, and all that. I want to go over a little of the information. Some of you trust your friend enough that just based on their say-so, you didn't even need the webinar, your friend said it was good, you trust them, and you're going to go. But some of you I know, you just need information in order to make an appropriate decision. So we want to provide that for you. So let me go over the times. It's always a Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. Friday night starts at 6 p.m., goes to midnight. Obviously, there's breaks every couple hours. This is not a bladder marathon. I'm not going to go over what's in every module. Basically, you're exploring your belief systems, preventing you from solving whatever you want. But that first night, there's some things on relationships. It's so good just the first night. You mark my words when you go. Come midnight, our facilitator will say, go home, go to the hotel room, get some sleep. We start at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Half the people will not go home. They find some all-night coffee shop or restaurant, talking to themselves. Why? Because when you have a revelation and you're able to actually see how to make something happen that you literally didn't think was possible, there is nothing more exciting. There isn't. There is nothing more exciting than that. And the breakthroughs that people have with that, just the first night, are unbelievable. Saturday, most of Saturday, is spent on the sunglasses around producing. Most people have a paradigm or a set of sunglasses that they can produce as long as all the circumstances line up. In other words, they can have a great relationship if the other person would only behave a certain way. Well, good luck. No matter how much you love them, that's not going to happen most times. Most people can make money as long as we're not in an economy like we're in, as long as the interest rates are proper, as long as there's not a computer problem, as long as the prospect says yes. Come on, life doesn't work that way. So then you don't have much liberty or success. So most of Saturday is how do you produce regardless of circumstances, whether that's a better marriage, more money, better health, whatever it is that matters to you. At the end of Saturday, you take a test. Now, it's not a test like a written test. It's a silly little game. It's called the red-black game. But you ask your friend that suggested you participate in this webinar, they'll tell you that silly little red-black game was one of the most impacting events in their entire life. I mean, they'll put it up with marriage. I mean, it's impacting. And what really happens for a person in the game is they discover the real sunglasses they have making most of their decisions versus the ones they think were making the decisions. And for most people, it is eye-opening. You ask your friend, they'll probably tell you they would pay twice what they paid for the entire seminar just for that one little game. Sunday morning, we work on love. That may sound strange if you're going for business reasons, and people go for all different kinds of reasons. But I'm going to suggest love has an enormous amount with how you do business, let alone your personal life. And if you're watching this, you're participating in this webinar, most likely you know about love. Here's my challenge to you. What if your capacity to love doubled in that weekend? What would that be worth? If you're a parent, what would that be worth in terms of what that would do for your children if you doubled your capacity to love? Come on, if you're a parent, I'm a parent, I've raised 3 kids, they're all out of the house now. If you're a parent, you'd throw $5 grand at me in a heartbeat, borrow it from a bank if you had to, if, and it is a big if, it could truly double your capacity to love. I mean, if you're married, come on, you'd give me a couple $1,000 in a heartbeat. Come on, just for the joy that increased joy that would bring in your relationship. You already know about love, but it's about increasing your capacity to love. And my challenge to you is if you do not double your capacity to love in that one weekend, the Personal Mastery Weekend, take all your money back. I mean, the guarantee we offer with our seminar is you can have all your money back 30 days after the weekend's over, just so you know you're not on a seminar high, some motivational thing, and you've had a month to apply the seminar and get practical results in your life. That's my challenge to you. And there's really, in love, you can't put a price tag on it, but I'm trying to frame it for you. Now, the last thing on Sunday afternoon, you work on procrastination, if you have time for it. I always joke around that. Of course you're going to have time for it. But procrastination is a great example. People know what they're supposed to do, but that doesn't mean they'll do it. They have a belief system that causes them to put stuff off. What would it be worth to you in business? I'm just talking dollars, whether you work for somebody else or in your own business. Come on, what would it be worth if you cut your procrastination in half? Just half. How about what would it be worth in the intimacy in any relationship you're in if you cut your procrastination on having uncomfortable conversations with people in half? Come on, just that one paradigm shift alone would be worth the entire price of the seminar for most people. Now, you'll see up on the screen a lifetime tuition of $1,195. Let me address lifetime tuition. What does that mean? Lifetime tuition means once you've done our weekend, Personal Mastery, you can do it again as many times you want anywhere in the world that we offer it. That may not seem like a big deal to you. You go, I'm pretty smart, I'll absorb it, but here's the difference. I mean, hey, I was Dean's List every semester at West Point, and I didn't see the benefit of this when I first went with my mentor. And the reason is that it's not about absorbing information. It's all about discovering belief systems. So you could be like Lisa Chambers. She went to our seminar. I personally did her Champions event, a webinar like this, only it was a live workshop with her. She had been in network marketing, direct sales for a year and a half, only making $250. Couldn't even pay groceries with it. Sad. In 1 month, just from this webinar information, she went to $2,000 in 1 month. You're talking the same economy, same product and company, same woman, just a different set of sunglasses. But then, catch this. Her brain went, now I want to make $4,000 a month, but I don't want to work twice as hard because I want to spend time when she had a small child at the time. So then she goes to our weekend seminar, all about breaking through a different belief system so that she could double her income without working twice as hard. Later on, she was making $14,000 a month. So what I'm suggesting is 20 years from now, you're still going to want to go to another level in some area of your life, and you're going to be wanting to explore belief systems. We'll be here, and it won't cost you another cent. So you can amortize that amount of $11.95, 2, 3, 4 times, however many times that you think you'll end up doing the weekend workshop. Now, I look at the $1,195 as an investment because I'm a business guy. Not all of you watching are. You could be a house husband, housewife, but I'm a businessman, so I look at everything as a return on investment. So if you look at it that way, you could put $1,195 in the bank. Not sure why you would, but you could. And then what? You make about 3% in a year, so okay, you make $35. Maybe take your family to dinner if you don't have any kids. I mean, it's sad, but in other words, with a lot of investments, you have a risk-reward ratio, and if the risk is high, then the reward has got to be pretty high. But if the risk is low, the reward's low. So in a bank, very low risk. I mean, your money's guaranteed, but your reward is very small, 3%. You could change investment vehicles to stocks. I own stocks, and then you could make 50% on your money in a year. I've certainly done that in more than one stock. But you could also lose it all, not just the 50%. So as the potential reward went up, the risk also went up. What's the deal with us? The reward isn't 3% or 50%. It's your dream. What's your dream worth? Well, what's your dream worth? Really? Yeah. So we hope that you apply, number one, this intention equals results formula. It's incredibly valuable. Make a difference in your life. Contribute to other people's lives 100 times over. God bless.